there's been a debate on the internet lately about whether Dark Souls should have an easy mode. No. It should not. Not every game is for everyone. And like if you go into Dark Souls with the concept, yes, I'm going to keep talking about Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. If you go into Dark Souls with the idea of, well, I just need to keep going, and there's more to it. We have to move past the difficult gameplay. Yes, the gameplay is difficult. That's not why we love it.
That's not why we love it. It is challenging.
There's all this other elements here. But
the landscapes
are
gorgeous. The game design. I've been touting the game design for this for so long. That's the reason I like Demon's Souls. The reason I like Dark Souls. And the reason I like Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 2 is not named in there because Dark Souls 2 does not have this. The nested game design is just amazing.
Yeah.
Where I'm going through, we discussed a specific part, and I'm going to spoil without spoiling. There's a section in the area of the Road of Sacrifices. There's a watery area, and if you get past that, there are two actual, it branches out, and either you're going to have a boss fight or you're going to get another bonfire. Mm-hmm. Now, if you get the boss fight, then you can continue down that path.
Yeah.
But you're missing a bonfire. And if you find that bonfire, you missed the boss fight and you need to go find it because you've got a huge path you're missing. This is not how other games are, where it's either really open world and you can get to anywhere from anywhere, or it's a corridor.
Yeah.
You have all these corridors that aren't even on the same level. You go up on the top of these roofs and you drop down and you're like, oh, I'm back to this area. I've created a shortcut now.
See,
it's gorgeous.
Now it sounds like you're arguing for the easy mode because we're talking about the things that are not related to it.
No, that's what That's what I'm saying. Like we were saying that it's not all about it being hard. I'm saying that there's so much to this game that has nothing to do with the difficulty. The amount of content, the amount of beautiful design, not only in the graphics, in the layout, but in also how you tackle the game. It's not about the difficulty of the enemies. It's more of just having these aha moments of unlocking a shortcut or going, oh, that door that I couldn't lock, because almost every door in Dark Souls is
locked
like
from one side
either
or the
locked
other.
from one side or the other. It'll say it can't be opened from this side, or it'll say it's locked, and then eventually you'll be able to unlock it. And it's not always a key. It's not always unlocking from the. There's so many different ways to do that, and then they open up these shortcuts or these. It's just gorgeous. It's amazing to see a game that's like that feels so real. It feels like these are actual places that you're going to, as opposed to like Skyrim, which I love Skyrim, but where are the bathrooms? There are no outhouses in Skyrim. There are no bathrooms in Skyrim.
But see, here's the thing. Those of you who know me, I'll switch conversations in any argument. There are all these wonderful things that have nothing to do with the difficulty.
I agree.
So why would you keep people away from this beautiful design from this game just because they get too frustrated with the difficulty?
Why would I? Hold on. You're saying why would I?
You said that there should not be an easy mode for Dark Souls. Okay, so if there's all these things that have nothing to do with the difficulty that are appealing moments for this game, why should we lock that away from people who can't get past the difficulty?
Because Dark Souls is about dying. It is about trial and error. It's about not only understanding how to take out a boss or whatever, but that the game's just as much about death as it is life. And I think that it's important to realize that it's one of the few games where you die as a character, and you did die. Mm-hmm. It's not you go back to a checkpoint, restart the story. It's no, your character did die, and you've been summoned back at a bonfire, and go find your corpse and continue what you were doing. And everything else does. The world respawns, and I think that creating an easy mode will take that out of it. I think that's an important part of the philosophy in Dark Souls and the philosophy of Bloodborne as well. Like, death is there, it has to be there, and I'm not on the far end of the spectrum of the get good, Dark Souls kind of spectrum where it's like, no, you just get better and just do it. It's not necessarily that, but in understanding, okay, I died. Why did I die? And because if you think about it, I think the game is difficult, but is it impossible? No. I mean, there's a guy who did a speedrun of Dark Souls 3 in an hour and 40 minutes, killing almost every boss. He skipped some optional bosses and everything. But if it's nigh impossible, you're not going to have that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have people speedrunning Super Meat Boy in a matter of 20 minutes.
There's a Steam achievement for beating Super Meat Boy without dying.
Without dying. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but somebody did it. Because the internet is crazy.
Yeah. And see, that's a game that is already on that spectrum, like Dark Souls, where it is really hard. But again, Super Meat Boy isn't. It's difficult. But Super Meat Boy doesn't have the lore and the story. I'm sorry, I love Super Meat Boy, but it doesn't have just the beauty in Dark Souls. It's gorgeous. The world is amazing. Whitney doesn't like, it does not appeal to her to play these kind of games. But she sat and watched me play it a few times because it is beautiful. She's only seen me play it a few times, other than like, okay, a boss fight, and I'll wrap up and then be done. And what's the guy with the oniony hat? You know what I'm talking about? The elevator. Yeah. So if you see him and there's an elevator, did you go to the bit between the elevators?
Yeah.
Okay. So I did that, and I was. She came out of the bedroom, and I was playing there. I was talking to him, and she's like, "Who is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's yeah." I said he's another one of the unkindled, and he's an NPC who's fighting like I'm fighting and trying to do what I do. And
he's standing around saying a lot,
and you run into these guys a lot. And I was explaining to her, I'm trying to find as many as I can, talk about, like, get the dialogue. Some of them can help me. Some of them are outright attacking you, which there's a section that I just got to where it's like 3 in a row. It's just boom, boom, boom. Like, I got finished with one, rested at a bonfire, and then there's another one. And then there's another section where there's literally 2 right, like, that fight you together. And I ran away.
Yep.
I ran away. And I think that's important also to not only understand progress in the story, but understand your character's progress and go, I'm not ready for this. As a player, I'm not ready for this. As the character, I'm not ready for this. And running is always an option.
So for you, the argument is that the difficulty immerses you in the world because you have to kind of embrace it in order to do this.
I think it's part of the philosophy behind it. I mean, you have death all around your character and all around everything in the world, and you have this cycle of death and rebirth, and I think it has to be there. You have to feel that. You have to understand. I think it helps you get immersed in the game. Yeah.
Switching back to the other side.
Yeah.
Because death is so much a part of the world for the characters that you're encountering, like Yoel.
Yeah.
I didn't die like I was meant to. Like, he's actively seeking death as his release, as his destiny.
Yes. You meet him and he says, I was supposed to die along with all these other people, and I'm standing here and I didn't die.
Yeah.
And
I helped him.
I did too. And by that we don't mean just outright killed him. Okay, you as a player...
We didn't stab him.
You as a player knew what was happening.
Yeah.
As my character as an NPC didn't. My character did not. My character saw someone who is going to help, who is dedicated to me, and who said, I will make you stronger.
Yeah.
And made me stronger through my own deaths. And then he died.
Okay. So for you, the reason that it can't have an easy mode is because the philosophy of the game and the way that the world is designed, it has to center around death. And so if I, as the player, am not experiencing death, and if I do not become comfortable with the idea of my own death, my imminent, constant death.
Yeah, constant mortality, even though you're not really alive. Well, you're alive in this because you're not hollow. But yeah.
So because I'm needing to embrace that in order to understand and get into the world. Yeah. If I've not reached that point as a player, not a character, then I am not ready to. I'm not able to see the world as it is, as it has been created.
I think it helps you understand the world. Everyone that I've talked to who have played the games, whether they consciously or subconsciously know that's what's happening. When you start playing Souls games for the first time, it's frustrating, and then you get to the point where death happens, and you accept it, and you just move on. Now, you may be frustrated because you dropped 15,000 souls.
Yeah.
And then you died on the way back. But that threat, I think, is important to be there. And for you to lose something like that and understanding, which I think is part of the masochistic part of it, or sadistic version, depending on which side you're on. They're saying, get comfortable with death. And then once you're comfortable with death, you lose everything that you had. Yeah. So you can be comfortable, but not too comfortable. But understanding that it exists. Which doesn't mean you have to...
And also be aware that this is going to happen. Yeah. You don't have to be happy about it, but just be aware that this is a part of life in this world.
I played for an hour and a half straight and didn't die. And that's good. It happens. I mean, you have long stretches where you're like, I'm exploring and I'm journeying, and then you hit a wall, and the wall could be like, I don't know how to tackle this enemy, or this is kind of hard placement, or and that's not including boss fights, because boss fights are a different story. But just going, this enemy is their enemies. Some enemies just come at you. Some enemies come at you like wailing. And then there's one that...
Some enemies drop down from the ceiling.
Yeah, and drop down, land on you, and then you got to roll away because they're going to start slicing. There's an enemy type that you'll encounter if you've been to Road to Sacrifices?
No, that's my next
stop. That's right. There's an enemy that you'll find. If you're cool with me telling you this, at least it's like it's a small NPC. If not, I won't say anything.
Go ahead.
This is part of the crucifixion river, or whatever it is. So you have these people who are literally on these crosses. They look almost like Celtic crosses. But there are also these what would be kind of your throwaway undead, or not skeletons, hollow, whatever. And they have these like 8 or 10 foot tree trunks that are sharpened on one end. And they will either ram you with it, and as it drives into you, it goes hit. So it's not just I hit you; it's hit, like completely going through. Or they will go like this and hit you once. But if you don't have enough health during that, because I don't know how much points you put into health,
none.
That's a one-hit kill.
Yep.
Because it goes, it just drives through you, and you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you understand how to tackle that enemy, and here's your tip on that, let them run, come towards you, and backstep or back roll a couple times, because then either he will run and complete his animation of trying to drive through you and just kind of do that, and you can attack him. Or if he's going like this and stabbing the ground where you were, and you roll backwards, he stabs into the ground, and then he kind of wiggles it out and pulls it back, and that's when you attack.
Yeah.
But if you try to sidestep, you may not. He may drive into you on the sidestep.
Yeah.
So it's understanding how to tackle these type of new, and it's just one of the new enemies. But that's one thing that I also think of with the philosophy of death. Just death is there. Death stops. Death is always there, and in this case, it can come from anywhere. It doesn't have to be the biggest, baddest boss.
Yeah.
It's this random guy who is literally digging in the soil, and he heard you, and then he drove a spear into your stomach.
Yeah.
or you accidentally took a drop that you weren't supposed to take, which if people are trolling, it happens. But I think that,
however, those Fruity Pebbles are my favorite new item.
Fruity Pebbles?
Yeah. Fruity Pebbles that you buy from the Shrine Handmaiden. If you drop them off a cliff and it goes boom, that's a death.
I didn't see those.
Yeah. It's in the item description, and they cost like 10 a piece.
Is it a death for you based on your HP, or is it just it's a death because there is no ledge?
I believe it's that you will die if you jump off this. I don't think.
I'll test it,
but regardless, if it is a bottomless pit,
it's a death.
It's a death.
Well, I just mean
that's helpful.
I just mean like if you throw it off and it goes bam, is it like, okay, I need to up my health? I need to ember.
Yeah.
What would take me down there?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I unlocked the tower. Mm-hmm. Have you unlocked the tower yet? Mm-hmm. So I specifically did this. This is what I was saying. Like, I almost lost 17,000 souls because I was saving them up for the 20,000 soul tower key.
Yeah.
So there's some decent items there. It does also unlock if you're having trouble with the tree jump. I think we talked about this before. There's a tree jump that you can do to get up on the roof. You can also kick down a ladder, so you can just climb up there anytime you want. But there is an equipment set and some other stuff that you have to drop down to get to.
Yes.
Similar to, I don't know if you saw,
and the crow's nest.
Yes, and the crow's nest.
Pickle pea.
I love it. So you get, if you do that, you could do the jump if you wanted to do it as a shortcut without spending it, but you will not. You'll get, doing that, you'll get an Estus shard. Mm-hmm. You get the crow's nest and the ring, serpentine ring or
covetous serpentine
ring. But you won't get, I believe it's the Firekeeper equipment set.
Firekeeper gear and her soul. Which that is a really fun lore thing, and so I needed that.
So it's expensive, but yeah. I think it's a scale.
It's a crystal lizard.
I didn't see crystal lizard. I'll have to look again.
Yeah, if you go down the thing and then go to the right, like off the roof that way, away from the entrance to the shrine, there's a crystal lizard there.
Hold on. So, go down
on the if you
drop off the bridge onto the roof.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just climb up the ladder now that you have the ladder. Climb up the ladder and then take a right.
Okay, I'll try that out. That's also how I cheaply killed Katana Man, because I've killed him before, and I mean
he's a douche.
He's really easy early on, and I'll put a little footage of me doing that because I was tired of him, and I wanted his gear, which I still like my dual swords better than his katana.
Yeah,
and the katana's a little slower, but I'll put footage of that.
When he's using it.
Not when he's using it. It requires a lot more endurance, but I got on the roof and I killed him with sorceries. Yep. And I'm not even a sorcerer build. I'm not a mage build at all, and I still killed him. So.
Yep.
Takes a little planning because I had to allocate Estus to what's it called, Ashen Estus?
Ashen Estus.
Yeah. So
which is most of my stuff now because of that heal trick.
Mine is like all heals.
See, that's what I do. That's what I do for like
because I don't
most
use
boss
sorceries.
Fights. Yeah, but like that tree could not be killed with sorcery because it's constantly moving and it's just. I
soloed him last night. Like I was trying to find someone to help me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I've only got like 60-some souls, so.
Here we go.
I'm not gonna. I lost probably 6,000 or 7,000 on him at one point because I didn't get to my souls in time. But I think the sorceries are really hard with it, also because how to aim at him and at that spot, because you're targeting not a specific spot, you're targeting like the center of him, but you have to hit a specific spot, and if you his hands, his butt, his hands, his feet, like it's not the hand that grabs you, but the others, they have the kind of pustule things as well, so you can pop those.
Do you know the lore about that tree?
I haven't looked into it yet.
Oh my goodness, the lore is awesome. Okay, so Undead Settlement there's a lot of kind of innate curses just because of that, and then curses get kind of handed down from Lothric as, well, screw you guys anyway. So somebody in the undead settlement, possibly the evangelists, managed to channel the curses that were affecting the undead settlement into a tree.
Okay.
And so that's where it gained its sentience, but then it got overwhelmed with the curses and became this evil thing.
Yeah.
And that also explains what has the worshippers. They're attempting to placate it because we're sorry we threw all these curses at you.
I like that.
We didn't realize this was kind of the end game here,
Yeah.
which makes sense because when I first showed up, I was irritated. I was like, they're worshiping tree people, they're worshiping dragons, now they're worshiping a tree.
Yeah.
Why is everybody bowing to everything?
I understand worshiping dragons, but why are they worshiping a tree? But yeah, so that makes sense now. Yeah.
Well, I have a theory on the trees too. I think that the ingestion of a seed of a giant, I think that can lead to, or possibly cross-pollination, cross-breeding with trees, and they wish to ascend to the level of the giants, who are gone now because we killed the last giant in 2.
What about the giant on the tower?
No, that's not the tree giant. That's something else.
Okay, it's a giant of sorts, but not.
He's a golem, actually. If you look at his feet and legs, he has all these things that are stuck into him, and it's not a wound. It's just this is stuck into him because he's made of stone or something. He's not wood like the giants who were like big trees.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was a golem. I thought he was just a giant.
I researched the crap out of this stuff.
Yeah.